Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wingcat Sports. Since the weekly Red Wing breakdown, my dad has already fully given up on the year. No, you're not mad Matthew out. For most people, the hope is gone. As much hope as you want to have, the hope is kind of gone. Again, it's a very confusing thing when it comes to the Red Wings because most people are, if you're done, you're also kind of mostly done on Steve Yzerman, but the team mathematically has improved year after year. They have. As much as you want to deny it, they have improved year after year. They're 2 wins away from their best win total under Yzerman. And, whatever ends up happening, it's going to happen. I think Yzerman should be on the hot seat after this year, for sure. There should be no reason why you have missed the playoffs for 10 straight years, 7 being under him. But again, it's not like the draft picks haven't been bad and all that. But we'll get into that more after we talk about the games that happened last week. You lost the first game, which was a game you should not have dropped. You needed to win that game, but you lost it. So now Ottawa had the advantage over you. Now you're tied with Ottawa in the standings, and they're ahead of you. Then you surprised us by beating the Sabres 5-2 and really handling the Sabres.
I don't think they handled them at all. They played one good period and then sucked for two. They were horrible.
It still won.
Buffalo totally dominated us for the last two periods. Totally. It was like one team was on the ice, and just John Gibson saved our ass again.
Said 5-2. Ended up winning. And then the Philly game happened, which again, it's a back-to-back. Played John Gibson back-to-back games. I really don't know what we expected to happen. But you kind of got blown out in the beginning of the game. By the time it was 3-0, I turned it off. Then after the game happened, I checked. I saw we became 1 goal till tying it, and then lost. They scored 3 goals in 2.5 minutes, made it 4-3, and then
just to give you hope, only to lose.
So it is what it is. Again, the Wings still have a chance technically. Do I expect it to happen? No. I've given up on the year. He's given up on the year. I have more faith than he does because anything can happen. But it's year after year. It's year after year. There's nothing we can do.
They just don't seem to show up. No. They don't show up every game. They show up on occasion. They show up for a period. They don't show up. These are important games.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them.
Like I said, go back to that Florida game. It's like, come on.
But yeah,
we're not going to beat those teams, and then you have to beat Ottawa. You have to beat Philly. I didn't expect
you should have lost to the Sabres this week. Between the games, you should have beat Philly and Ottawa and lost to the Sabres. But you beat the Sabres, which didn't matter. A win's a win, but
at least show up and play hard. They didn't look like they were into that game last night against Philly.
Now, could they have been tired from a back-to-back? Sure,
but if you're tired. I don't care if you had a game before. This is playoffs. Do you want to win or not?
No.
You're athletes. Show up. Play hard. If you're going to go down playing your ass off. And no one watching the Wings could possibly think they were giving their best effort or showing up. Playing all
when you're looking at it in total, when you're looking at it, right, the Wings technically, again, aren't out of the playoffs because they're only a point behind. They are only a point out, but Columbus is hot. Columbus has played really well since changing coaches. Boston has a tiebreaker on you, and you're not going to get that second wild card spot because you're 4 points back and you can't seem to win back-to-back games. This has technically been one of the better months of March, though you're a game below 500. If you end up being the Penguins, you were 500 through the month of March.
The Penguins are dropping. The Penguins will not make the playoffs. The Penguins are free-falling right now.
Which actually, again, makes the Penguins game an important game because if Columbus wins...
But they're not going to win it.
If Columbus wins and you can tie Pittsburgh, then you might knock Pittsburgh out of the playoffs.
Then we have to listen to Dylan Larkin go, we're really angry.
You play like crap.
I'm sure you are.
I don't think Larkin really has done much besides the first week back from the Olympics.
If the Red Wings were a musical band, they'd be the Carpenters. They're so soft.
They suck. The Wings suck right now. There's nothing that you're 4-5-1 through your last 10. You still have a -3 goal differential. You don't have an offense. It's not Gibson's fault. It's not the defense's fault. You have one of the best goals against in the East, one of the best. But you have a terrible goals for. You have the lowest, I think, in the East outside the New Jersey Devils.
I just want to see effort. I want to see a 60-minute game every time you're out there,
No.
banging people, hitting people. You are the softest team again. I mean, you've been the softest team in the NHL for quite a long time. And again, it's like I said, it's this time of year, these teams amp it up, and you're not amping it up.
No.
You're just showing up and getting out there and doing your long program. I just don't get it.
Oh, I missed that game. I gotta fix that. You got 3 games this week. Looks like you have
should win all 3.
You have a back-to-back that wasn't there before. I don't think that was there. You're only supposed to be playing all 3
if you get a chance. If you show up and you play your butt off, you should win all 3 of those games.
They're going to lose all 3.
And they'll lose all 3, right. They probably will. They'll probably lose every one.
So you got 3 games this week. You play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. You have 1 back-to-back, which I thought they only had 1 more left this year. But apparently not. They got 1 more. They're going to be playing on Easter, which is surprising, which is actually a game I will not get to in
Columbus
time.
is going to move from being a wild card team, in my opinion. They're going to be the 3rd seed in that conference. Pittsburgh's going to drop out. So
you're fighting Pittsburgh and Philly.
If we can beat Pittsburgh, we can beat Ottawa, and we can beat Philadelphia. We're all right there.
So let's.
How many games left are for these teams? I mean,
10 games. We got 9 to 10 games depending on who you are.
Everybody has the same amount.
Around 9 to 10 games left for everybody. Now, you're looking ahead at your schedule. You play Pittsburgh, Philly, New York, Minnesota. Your next 4 games. By the time I get to talk to them about the Wings again on Monday. Looking at it, you need to beat at least Pittsburgh and Philly. New York sucks, so you should beat New York. But you need to beat Pittsburgh and Philly. You can lose to New York. Who cares? But you have to beat Pittsburgh and Philly.
I honestly think those next 7 games, they have to go 6-1. They have to,
and they're not going to.
Well, and right, they're not going.
They're going to go 3-3,
3-4. They need to beat everybody on there. We'll chalk Minnesota up to a loss. But the other ones,
other 3, you got to win.
Beat these teams. Columbus, you got to beat Pittsburgh. You got to beat Philadelphia twice. You got to beat the Rangers. They suck. And you got to beat New Jersey. They suck.
They actually have as many wins as you.
But New Jersey does?
Yeah, they just haven't lost.
Well, I can't say any team with the Hughes brothers doesn't suck.
The Eastern Conference in general does not suck, which sucks.
If you do that, you get 6. That would give you 12 points. That would put you near 100 points.
And you still might miss the playoffs, to be honest.
And you still might miss the playoffs. And then going into the final 2 games against Tampa Bay and Florida, you could look at it. I'm trying to be nice, but I don't think any of that's going to happen.
They have improved themselves.
Suck. I think they're going to go on a 0-10 run or something.
The thing
they're
is,
just going to stink up.
The things as Wings fans is they haven't proven themselves the past years. They have not proven themselves in the month of March, and you did it again.
You have one.
So why should we be hopeful for these last 10 games?
You have maybe a handful. You can count on one hand the number of players who seem to show up for every game. You got the Cat, Gibson. I'll give Larkin his credit. At least maybe
he just hasn't done much.
Kind of shows up. Maybe not. I don't.
Raymond has sucked since the Olympic break.
Has not shown, but I don't think it's. I don't know what his deal is. I'm not saying the guy doesn't show up and play hard, but he's got to put the puck in the net.
He's the first player. He's the first player since Zetterberg and Datsyuk to have multiple back-to-back 70-point seasons. So it's not like Raymond has played bad. He just has been non-existent the past basically 2-3 weeks. You got a goal here or there, but he's practically been
that guy should be our team leader in goals. That guy should be a 35 to 40 goal scorer.
Well, DeBrincat's doing that right now. So.
Right. He should be up there past DeBrincat. He should be our main guy. If we have that from him along with DeBrincat, We'd probably be
in the
coasting.
playoff because you have an offense. We have no offense. You have all these offensive weapons,
Right.
and you have no offense.
Right.
None. So something has to change. Something this offseason has to change.
And I don't think it's
fix this month of
McClellan.
March.
I think
No,
McClellan's
it's not.
a good coach.
I won't even say it's Yzerman because you drafted all these young guys who have the potential. It's something in the coaching staff. It's not the head coach. It's whoever's controlling that offense.
Well, I blame Yzerman a
needs-
little bit because this team, like I said, is so soft.
But he also
And,
has some.
and you got to get some guys in here who want to bang and want to play.
You want the young guys up. You know,
yeah,
all
but
that.
they're not. Did he draft any guy with size that's big?
A Soderbergh. Did he draft? He might have drafted Soderbergh,
He's
but he traded
gone.
him. So, you know.
But I'm just saying, other than that, none of these. Does Casper have size? He's like 6. He's like your size. He's like 6 feet tall, 100.
Yeah, but he hits.
Right, he does, but
He does
he
hit.
doesn't have size.
The young guys throw their body. I will say that. But
I'm just saying they're the smallest team and the softest team out there. And they've been that way for a very, very long.
well, yeah, the problem is right now, and that, honestly, this is the week. Whether, fans who have a little bit of hope can cling on to something, or fans who have no hope can point the finger and say, yeah, it's done, will be this week. Because if you lose to Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, you're done.
Right.
You are done.
This starts
Even
to
if you're
to
math-
me, you gotta win the next 3 games. You've got to get 6 points out of the next 3 games.
You do.
And you can lose to Minnesota if you want, and then you got to go on another tear.
Yeah,
That
at
to
least
me
win
is
the next 3 after that.
That's to me is the formula right
And-
there. You got to go 6-1.
You got to
these
win the
next
next
7
3.
games.
You can lose to Minnesota. Then you got to beat Columbus, Philadelphia, and New Jersey. And at that point, you'll see where you're at and how important Tampa and Florida are. Because, you
But
might,
like I said,
again,
watch Pittsburgh. I think they're going to free fall.
you could miss the
Out of
play.
the
You could get 90. You can win 5 more games this year and miss the playoffs. You can get 96 points and miss the playoffs.
Right.
It's very possible.
Well, that's what
I think
mean.
98 is the projected amount of
So,
points.
If we look
to
at
make
the
the
whole
playoffs.
rest of the season, what record do you think? 8-2 that they need to go on? They need to be no
They
better,
got
worse
how many-
than that.
8. They got 9 games left.
So 9 games, 7-2.
Probably
14 points would put them at where?
100.
Would it?
14 points to put them at 100.
Right. That's what they got to do. That's what they got to do.
98 is
7-2.
the predicted amount to make the playoffs. So technically speaking, you need to win 6 out of your last 9.
I'm going to say 7. They got to go 7-2.
That's the math with it, at least. I think.
And I know that's not. I mean, it sounds terrible because I'm like calling them all this shit. If you got a 100-point season, that's a hell of a season.
And you miss the
But
playoffs,
still,
though.
you're gonna
100
miss the
points and
playoffs.
you miss the
But
playoffs.
if they get a 100-point season, I'm not going to miss the playoffs. I'm just going to say hell.
The Brinket's 3 goals away from 40. I don't know the last guy we had at 40.
He's been our only consistent.
The
guy.
Brinket's almost at 80 points this year, too.
Right.
But again, it gets confusing because has the Yzerman years been a struggle? Yes. But again, you tied the win total you had last year, which brought you to one of the last games of the year. You're 2 wins away from 2 years ago, which went to one of the last games of the year. You're already past where you were at in 2022. You're already past where you're at in 2021. You have had better records than you've had. You are on your way up, which makes it confusing to why if Yzerman, how hot is the seat for Yzerman right now because of that. With where you're sitting, your records are better. You are playing better. You are winning more games. You are doing what you need to do somewhat to get you to the point. It just constantly becomes 1 month out of the year that for some reason becomes a struggle. For some reason, once it hits March, you just give up.
And I agree. I've never seen a season like this as far as parity in the East. You got 12 teams. And the funny thing is the best team probably in the East isn't going to make the playoffs because of injuries all year long. Florida is going to be back next year. You're going to have to contend with them next year because it's just going to be it's hard. It's
and again,
hard
the East is going to continue to be good. And again, when you look at it overall, you've only made the playoffs 1 year being in the East, the very first year, which was the last year for 25 straight year streak. The West sucks compared to the East.
Well, they have a few really good teams.
They have a few really good teams. They've won the past couple Stanley Cups, but overall quality of play, the East is better.
They're just killing it.
And it's the thing that sucks, because if you really want to complain about, I don't think it should be a 1-16 playoff format. Whoever said that's dumb. You can do 1-8 East-West, but in general, right, you're sitting at 86 points. You know where that would put you at if you were in the Pacific Division? First place. So, can you really complain about where you're at completely?
You can't, but it's
you
like
can,
I said,
and
my complaint seems to be that when they come up against teams that are equal talent than them, that I think they're right on par with, they just seem to lose because of lack of efforts.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be losing because they can't beat these teams or because they just don't show up. And I don't get that. I just don't get it.
Again, it's the thing that sucks. Again, we were in the West, you'd be in the playoffs right now. Even if we were in the Central Division, which is where you'd be in the West, you would be the top wild card spot by 4 points.
Yeah.
Right? Because you wouldn't be sitting with Minnesota, Dallas, and Colorado because they're already 6 points ahead of you.
Well, the best 3 teams in the West
are all in one
division.
The
same division.
Are all in the same division.
So
Utah's lucky because they're also a central team technically.
So right now,
and
you got Dallas is going to have to play the Minnesota Wild in the first round if that's the way it's going to go.
Yep.
And that would be criminal, really, because those are 2 teams that probably are better than anybody in the Pacific.
And Colorado gets to have a nice, easy series against either the Predators, the Kings, the Kraken.
There isn't. That's unfair, really.
Or the Jets or the Sharks.
But that's the way it is.
Depending on who can get hot, or the Blues. Depending on who can get hot enough.
One of those teams be eliminated. And then I think it's going to come down to basically, I don't know if they reseed these things after the first round.
They don't. I don't think they do.
So, I mean,
I don't think they do.
Colorado's going to have, if that's the case, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Colorado will play Minnesota or Dallas. And then hopefully honestly, like the Ducks are winning the Pacific. I don't mind the Ducks.
Will play Utah.
They're one of my other favorite teams. The Ducks would end up playing Utah, which is a 4-point difference. So right. Utah could win that series.
Right. We could.
But again,
why is Edmonton suck so bad this
year? They have 37 wins. It's not like they're bad. They would be a wild card team still. But that's just the thing. When you're looking at it, basically up till even the Devils are in better playoff contention in the West. The Maple Leafs are better playoff contention in the West. Everybody in the East besides the Rangers are better playoff contention in the West. And that is a sad thing to say. But again, you dominated in the West. You haven't figured out how to play better in the East. And that's been the main thing for the past 10 years. You've gotten close. You led the division for a bit. You were sitting in the division for a bit. You were in the playoffs for more than 100 days this year. But you fell out when it mattered the most. And that's what sucks.
Right.
And you probably will not make it because you can't play competitive hockey at the end of the year. Again, mathematically, there's still a chance. If they can figure it out this week, there's still a chance. But literally, if you cannot figure it out, you are done. You have ruined your chance again, and you have wasted a whole nother year. And it's sad to say. But we got the baseball season. At least they're able to do that for you. They always are able to at least get you the baseball season.
Right. That's good.
So
let's hope the Tigers get us the football season.
Say 3 straight teams with a late season collapse between the Lions, the Red Wings, and the Tigers. 3 straight teams this year. It is what it is. Can't do what you can do. But we'll end it here. Hopefully the Wings can figure it out. Keep moving on. If you like to see, like, comment, subscribe, share the video around. Until next time,